Hey all, welcome to Behind the Lens for another episode. Today, we're interviewing Dyslexic. Dyslexic, would you like to introduce yourself for those who may not know you?
I'm dyslexic, like quite literally.
Mm.
But no, you may know me through I don't know the Skeletal hands I did a few months back. Obviously now that's in the game, and you're probably not on beta, but I'm on beta. It's amazing. It's nice finally seeing it implemented. But I worked on some skeletal hands. Some of you may know me from doing some prefabs community work back in the day as well. That's a different story. I'm sure we'll probably get into that a little bit later on.
Mm.
But no, I kind of just played this game for a long time, and I try to make some cool stuff for you guys, like the public, but a lot of it doesn't really reach that far out, unfortunately, because Twitter is a nightmare to advertise on.
Yeah, I know. I can certainly agree with that. Now, Dyslexic, why did you choose this world?
Oh well, I mean, it's a nice, calm, relaxing world. I usually you see, there's a lot of funny moments I've had in this world. You got the ego drama, right? Like 2020, those years. Actually, when does this world even release? I don't want to say stuff that isn't true.
Mm.
Fuck, it's 2021. Anyway, 2021 ego drama. Obviously, you're chilling with your mates here. There's a mirror. There's like a cool little thing over there. I don't know. It's just kind of like a nice, relaxing place to go to. And the campfire's always quite warm and cozy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I kind of chose this place. Is kind of just a historic part of where we go to. It's kind of like a chill place.
Mm.
Where drama is said and fun nights are had.
Tea is spilled.
That's about it. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna dredge up that old drama. Oh boy, you don't want to hear that.
No, you're perfectly fine to leave it there. I'm just saying we all have those worlds.
I am.
Now, how did you get into VRChat?
Um, well, basically, the story of it is, right? My brother got a Quest, right? Like back in late 2019, heading into 2020, it was like a birthday present, or it was a Christmas present from my mum. I know. I'm in VR because of a Quest kitty. Shut up. But no, he never ended up using it. Like he played Beat Saber, liked it, and then kind of got good. Didn't know how to mod his Quest, moved on. So there was just a free Quest lying around. So I picked it up, played a bit of VRChat, didn't really like it, got very sick, and then continued to play it throughout then. And well, then that's kind of how I got in. I never actually started off. I mean, I did start off as a desktop user back in 2018. The Knuckles shit.
Mm.
But
Mm-hmm.
but that I was 14 at the time. Whenever that all happened, I know I'm young, but I was you know what, screw it. VR, I had a VR headset, VR chat. Why not? And you know what? I'm here now, 4 years later from when I originally started back in about January 2020 or February 2020, and then no COVID, and kind of just stuck here since.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the over-explained part of that.
No, that is more than welcome. No worries at all. But out of your large old tenure in this wonderful or hellish landscape, depending on who you ask, what is your best memory in VRChat?
There's this one moment, right? And I always say this back, and I don't think there's really moments I've had of this recently within VRChat. I don't know if it's my friend groups or if it's just the attitude of VRChat is in total. But I remember back in 2020, there was it was a random public world.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy's girlfriend had just broken up with him, and he was upset. He was on VRChat. He was by a mirror, but the world kind of surrounded him and kind of try to cheer him back up again. People together, people kind of unify together and try to uplift and make this guy happy. And obviously there was a troll who came in, and he was gone very quickly after. But it's seeing seeing that group of people uplift people. It's amazing. It's one of the best things. And the amazing thing is we don't know what any of us look like. We don't know our actual names, and we've never will meet in our lives. But yeah, we're still helping together, all from different cultures, backgrounds, and so that's kind of the part one of my favorite memories. We're just seeing so many people willing to help a guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
Yeah, for sure. You see a lot of that in certain different groups within VRChat, where there's a lot of goodwill you find, and people are always willing to help each other out, whether that be with avatar creation, world creation, or even it's just general human attitude.
Of course. Yeah, with avatar creators especially, they're amazing at reaching out for help with each other. I mean, some of them I'm sure there's people out there who are cool or problematic, want to keep everything secret. But no, like in general, like a lot of people tend to be very, very nice. I try to be nice to people. I did a commission recently for Minecraft avatars. That's another thing that was on my Twitter. Completely forgot to mention that. That kind of got a little popular. But I did a commission for someone for a Minecraft avatar, and I was trying to help them implement face tracking for another commission they had going. And it's just stuff like that, like people helping each other, always trying to uplift each other. And obviously, yeah, you have the bad eggs like everywhere, but it tends to be an overall positive experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, I completely agree. Just creators are always great at helping each other.
Now, if we take it back to the past a little bit, and where you kind of began, where you are, how did you start programming in VRChat?
Oh no, it was right. It's a funny thing. I never actually really started programming until I started my computer science course at uni. I mean, I did like a little bit. I did like computer science at GCSE. I'm sure you're Brit. You know what the GCSE system.
Yeah.
If there's any American people out there, imagine like what's it? End of middle school, heading into high school. Like it's kind of like an exam you sit at the very end of middle school, I think. But I did it back then. Was terrified of programming, right? And that's the thing I always say to people now: don't think programming is like awful hieroglyphics, because like that's what I thought whenever I did that computer science course. Because like they never explained anything to us, and they said memorize, like just lines of code. But now I'm older, and like through VRChat, I bumped into a guy who did programming. He did a thesis on some like therapeutic thing in VR. Name's Fax Machine. You may, I don't know if you have seen him. I think he works for, he does VRChat work now, I think. But he did like a little Unity like VRChat Udon 101 where he told us how to make a door. Like just a simple toggle door, and it opens up with an animation. And doing that instantly just like removed half the fears, because I realized, wait, it kind of makes sense, and so I took the gamble, did my A levels, and swapped course from physics to computer science, and then learned programming from there. The moment I started university, I learned C# in the background, and then started doing Udon Sharp. Or trying to. I've gotten better at it now, especially recently.
No, certainly. I mean, you've kind of given me the full timeline, which I'm very happy about. It's good to hear how people have progressed into things. That's.
I mean, it's just one of those things where a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I always had an interest in programming." And it's like, no, I was terrified of it, and I thought it was some fucking hieroglyphic shit, right?
Yeah.
But like when you actually are sitting down with someone who's passionate about it and is willing to go through it and kind of explain it, dumb it down for you, you start to realize actually how simple it is. It's basically just, it's not Legos putting together. It does get complex, don't get me wrong, but like it's not as intimidating as people think it is. And like I really want to help kind of show that going, like, I mean, just in general, just moving forward with my life is just try to help show people that programming isn't as scary, and that it's a genuine skill you could pick up, like learning a language, for example. Like, yeah, not everyone does it, but people still can do it.
I mean, it is effectively a language of its own if you think about it.
Oh yeah, no, of course. I mean, it's a way of thinking. Like, once you have the way of thinking down, you're there, right? Like, if you can think in kind of like an execution order rather than like a bunch of ideas, you think of like, all right, boom, 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 right? So it goes, all right, does this, does that, does this, does that. Like you pretty much can follow the logic of a computer. And when I say it like that, it sounds really simple, hopefully.
I mean, that is certainly a way to dumb it down to a level which can be comprehended by, I think, majority of people. I know you briefly mentioned in your intro, however, what is skeletal input?
So now VRChat's done it, they could probably explain it a bit better. So skeletal input, VRC skeletal input was a thing I made that used OSC to like change how your fingers move. Basically, what skeletal input is in Steam VR, they have like a finger tracking system, but all controllers like have their own hand movements that are set in the system. VRChat never read that. They never used it before. They literally just got like, all right, for example, for index, and I'll show you here. Do you mind if I get up close to the camera?
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, whenever I move my finger down like that, and I think you'll probably see this now, it is only like just moving the finger down. It's not moving it left or right. But in like the closed, in like the open beta, not the closed beta, sorry. If I close down my wrist, my palm, you'll see it kind of like goes inwards into itself. So it like does the finger spread. And it also means that stuff like Quest hand tracking can now work. You can now spread your fingers and curl them.
Yep.
And so what skeletal input was a proof of concept, or the VRC skeletal input for me was kind of just a proof of concept of this is what we could have, and we need to like. I'm always very for it's better if VRChat does it. Like I won't be able to implement it as clean as they have here, but it was like a very proof of concept. Like I want this to like show like it working, so then people know what they're missing out on. Because that's a very common trend I've seen in VRChat in general. And you'll see this with face tracking before they added OSC. Face tracking was something that was very niche. And then all of a sudden, you know, with the Quest Pro and like VRChat implementing OSC and VRC face tracking, all those things together has now created like a huge demand for like long-time players. And it's like VRChat players don't realize what they're missing out on in the VR industry because this is really the only game they play. I wanted like what the idea was with Skeletal Input was taking some of the stuff that Resonate and some of the stuff that you know, Chill Out VR had implemented and bringing it to VRChat and showing people, right, this is what it's like in your game. And a lot of people loved it, obviously.
Oh yeah, like...
but that's kind of what it is. I won't get too much into the weeds of how the controls work. I don't want to bore you, but basically it's changing how the fingers move so they can move more realistically and can like, you know, spread apart, you know, curl down. You can squeeze your palms now as well. So yeah. And hopefully that explains it somewhat.
No, it explained it quite clearly, and especially with the demonstration, you could kind of see the visual differences within it. I was able to quickly check, so I could see it from the camera's position. So thank you very much. Now, I know you've briefly mentioned this between us and our conversations, and I know that it's not really been named, but I'm aware that you've recently started work on a project, which is currently called Reach. Do you want to talk about it for those who may not be aware of it?
So one of the things I find in VRChat, and obviously with the wiki now coming out, it's not as much of a, like, I don't know, it's more of like kind of a want on my end. But one of the things I find that's really bad in VRChat is kind of the documentation and the kind of like more organized like helping of creators. If you know people in the creator sphere, you can get help. But the problem is there's a lot of people who don't have the contacts, don't have like, you know, a lot of us have social anxiety. And so it's very hard to reach out to people to get that help in the first place because, well, you don't talk to other creators. And so what the idea of something like Reach is, and it is a working name. I don't have, like, it's not fully set in stone. And speaking of which, after tonight, I need to invite a bunch of people into the server, but that's besides the point. Essentially what it is it's a ground where users can, you know, show off things they're working on in an event I used to run in prefab school behind the scenes, where they people show like the how they did something. Not that look at this. It's more focused on how you built it and going into depth on like, you know, the design of it. And like showing off, like getting feedback for your like I was about to say products. My God, I've been doing too much work.
I thought that.
The like your you know, your prefabs, your games, whatever. Getting feedback from that through like our like a testing event, you know, and a socializing event to help people kind of like get to know each other in more of a, dare I say, team building exercise.
Oh my God, work.
Sounds so corny. I sound like a PR manager right now. My God.
Oh, welcome.
But no, the idea of it is to like try and help, you know, break down the barrier of, look, I'm intimidated at talking to these people that, like, you know, I think their skills up here. And in reality, those people want help too. And like, one of the things I've learned is that, you know, the stuff I think that's really simple is relatively complex. And I could help a lot of people with that knowledge I gain. But I've never actually thought about it as that complex to help anyone or offer help.
Yeah.
So, you know, people have struggled on it for days. Like, they never reach out to me. So it's just something like that to help people know, like, you know, this is what I do. I can help. Have like a dedicated forum. So if there's common problems people bump into, you know, going over that, and then also trying to push for more resources out there, like more videos, more in-depth talks about systems, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like how to design. So it's a very educational-based community, and I know I've rambled there a lot on that there, and I've been a bit wishy-washy. I'm sorry,
No,
but the idea is it's just it's an educational tool in this game, and I think it's very important to help provide that because the people who are playing VRChat today, in my personal opinion, are the people who will be building the VR games of tomorrow, right? So let's make sure that, especially the younger people who have a lot of time to practice and learn, that they have the resources for that because it's still a very niche industry, and so being able to give them the resources to learn and get better at that, we'll have amazing games.
Now, is there currently any planned release date for Reach for people who may have been of interest?
So, first of all, if you're watching this and you have an interest in this, right? Send me a message on Discord. I'm gonna. Sorry.
No, plug away.
Self promotion coming in. I'm plugging right now at Dyslexic. Just Dyslex1k on Discord. Just send me a message. My DMs are completely open. Scammers love it, but I have them open for you guys. So yeah, if you're interested in joining, send me a message on Discord. Currently, we're keeping it very small. This is just so we we can make sure that all the channels are actually locked down. The basic stuff are done for the Discord server. If there's any kind of role changes we need to do. If there's any core changes. So currently, right now, the only people in it are staff. And we're planning of opening up to the first set, which is kind of more close friends, like creators I would know from prefabs, and adjacent communities like Shared Discord and so on. Udon, is it Udon VR?
I don't.
Yeah, Udon VR, and people from those communities, and then opening up to the public slowly. So I don't have an official date on it, but definitely by the end of this year. And if you're curious to see any updates on it, follow me on Twitter. Look at my Twitter.
No,
look at my Twitter. I'll probably post something about it there whenever it starts going public, or if we start talking about it more publicly.
And moving on from that, in a year's time, so say we're coming to the back end of 2024. So you say by end of 2024. By the end of 2025, where do you see Reach being, or where do you hope to Reach to be?
Well, hopefully not dead. Well, so I want a lot of people in this a lot of people will say, oh, I want to start a community, and oh, we want 100 users. I'll be honest, I just want at least 10 15 active users in that community. That's all I want, and that's where I hope to be at the end of the year, where they're able to help people out, questions able to be posted in, but ideally to run events and do these social interaction ones, and trial out new things in VRChat that people haven't really done before as a kind of creator community. From what I've seen, it's I want it to be I want at the end of 2024 people to look at Reach and be like, that's a community on how to do something, because I find that a lot of things here are very focused on your final project, your final product, your whatever you've been working on. The only thing that matters is when it's done, not what you've learned, not what you've how you've done stuff. It's done and it looks cool, and helping having it as a reliable place that people want to go to for resources.
No.
But who knows? We may not end up there.
I mean,
we'll see.
You okay? At least you'll know because you've tried, and wherever it goes, it goes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, I know we met prior to community events, but I was reintroduced to you again personally on a social level through community events. But linking onto that, how did you come about helping at community events with their streams? Which is one thing you is mentioned.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the old streams, but they were very bland, weren't very vibrant. And one of the things I wanted to do was add a bit more pizzazz, a little bit more noise. And so with the help of Valgan, which he did the current, or he did the mock-up for the current visual for like the live view.
Mm.
And then I just did some pizzazz, added some plugins or whatever, and then with the help of Nostro, actually writing the Lua code to actually do all the API checks or whatever to like get the world name, the creator. They've now pushed out like a new version where they now can get all that. And so I kind of just asked, and that's one of the things I do actually say to people: just if you want to help out a community, just ask.
Mm.
Most of them do shit for free. Like if you want to help or if you have something cool you want to contribute, ask someone and they'll probably say yes. Or, they'll push you to the side and go, we'll think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
linking onto that, you mentioned you used to stream. What kind of things were you streaming? I'm aware of mainly VRChat side.
So I started trying to do some creative streams. Didn't have crazy viewership on that. Obviously, you don't do streaming for the viewers, blah blah whatever. Totally did not affect my ego. What are you on about? but no, like I occasionally do creator streams. I don't do them as much anymore because, well, I work 9 to 5. I come home on the weekends. I want to chat to my friends. I don't want to be sitting there doing stream work. But back in the day, back old times, I used to just, play this game and be around, the Lolathon bunch. You see around a bunch of those people. And so I was one of those meme reaction weird streamers. But I kind of moved away from that and moved more to talking for a little bit. And then I kind of just stopped. Can't remember why. I think I just ran out of time. I was doing exams at the time as well, my A levels. Or my S levels. And was kind of struggling in school a little, so needed to prioritize that, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's usually time-wise which people stop streaming. So it's completely understandable. But
yeah,
you also mentioned that you make avatars from scratch. What avatars have you made from scratch?
I can show you one here.
Go ahead.
Now, I haven't made a full avatar from scratch. Oh, that's a lie. I've done this one. If you go on my Twitter, you'll see this. This is my full face tracked anime model. I've done some other commissions here. I'll do the one of my friend because I'm not going to do the ones of other people.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. No worries.
And this is my friend Skies. But yeah, and so it's got full face tracking, as you can see, and it's excellent, and it's a full background quest. That was one of the ones I've done. And then another one, and I don't know if it'll work in this world, and this is more of an older one of my first sets. It's Nickel Party Bot. It's a thing that my friend I built for the Tube X Thrill X Via event back in the day. And there's a picture of 50 of us in the legacy version. This is the modern day version. It's got kind of full PBR materials, whatever. I can change the hue, color, whatever, right? You've seen it. Add the mouth. And then change the eye scale so they're small, big, can move around the head position. There's a visualizer, you won't see that. But for anyone getting to avatar creating and you're looking at this, you go, oh, that's kind of cool. Just remember, if you're ever looking at your own work and you go, oh, it's not good enough, I'll show you what it originally looked like. This is what Partybot used to look like. And it's pretty much near enough the same mesh. It's just a different approach.
Yeah.
So you can do it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Believe in you.
Exactly. These things always take tons of time to hone and develop skills. So I completely understand. Now,
yeah.
You also dabbled in some world creation.
Oh, yeah.
How did you start world creation?
Community meetup was a big influence for me. Originally, it was I would make a world. I think I have a world that I took down a few years back. Basically, it was a thank you thing. Very emotional. It was to some of my friends or some of the people who kept me sane throughout COVID. I took it down just because I think it was too personal to be on public. It didn't make sense why it was in labs.
Yeah.
But then, I decided it was around the meetup time,
Mm.
and I saw some of the worlds of the meetup, and I was like, I can make that. And so my first ever world I made for the meetup, which kind of sparked my whole world creation stuff. I turn around, Random Peeps? He's a memester, by the way.
Heard of the name?
I went up to the guy and I was like, look, I want to build a world in a day. Give me a name, or like give me a noun, and hold on. Give me an object and a place. And so he wrote, I think he said like a canyon and a penis.
Oh.
And then I was like, holy shit, penis canyon. And so that was how I built my first ever world. It is the canyon in the shape of the letter T.
Beautiful.
Totally.
Beautiful.
It's got a little obelisk in the center of it. It's great.
These things do come about, and they are mighty creations. But out of all the worlds you've made, which are you most proud of?
Hold on. Asking the real questions here. I gotta open my worlds list here, see what I've actually uploaded.
Yeah, I gotta have the real questions,
So on my public account, you'll not see much, but recently there has been a world I've been working on. There's a commission that I did for a guy I know called Koza. He has a group called BT, or Basetopia. I prefer not to call it Basetopia, it's a bit cringe. Sorry, Koza, if you're watching this. But basically, I did some commission work for that. And they were like, okay, the old world's nice, but we want something a bit better. And so I got recommissioned for that. Well, not really. I didn't get paid for it, but I own like partial ownership in it, so it's fine. I still have all the copyright. But it was one of those things. I designed the world, and one of the things I really have started to pay attention to is how people act in spaces. And so I'm really, really proud of the kind of the spacing. It's not done, and we had our first event like last week, but I was really happy with how the space worked out and how people were using it. And so it's quite a open club board, in fact. But basically, like, that's probably the one I'm the most proud of, just in the sense that it was used in the way I wanted it to be used as, and people quite liked it. Yeah, it's not done, and it's not as pretty as some other worlds I've done, like some of the other stuff I've done. But you know what? I like it because it fits the environment that I wanted it to fit perfectly. It groups people together, and I can talk about the design for that for days.
You speak of BT, and a couple other communities in the past, but what communities do you often work with?
So originally it was mainly prefabs. Prefabs was like the big community I did a lot of work in. I used to be one of the social staff, so someone who runs events. As I said, ran a event called Behind the Scenes in prefabs for a while. So I used to do social events with them, and so that was mainly the community I was around. Now with recent events, I've moved away from the community just for personal reasons. To go off and do my own thing. And so now I'm not really I'd say very creator community adjacent now. I've been doing this for about 2 years within the creator sphere. But yeah, that's kind of the community I would hang around with now or do work with.
And on top of that, are there any other projects you're currently working on?
There was one I started last week.
Ooh.
Which is interesting, and I'll talk about it. It's not on my GitHub yet, but you'll see it at some point, and I want to create a funny world along with it as well. What it's called is, and it's going to sound really weird, it's a thing called VRC Waypoints. I've always wanted to make kind of story-based game in VRChat. I know the VRChat isn't the place to do a single-player game, but I'm trying to do something really funny. And trying to make something emotional or funny. It depends. I don't really know. It's kind of a very loose idea, the one that rattles around in your head and kind of changes occasionally.
Yeah.
But one of the things I really wanted for that was, okay, I need to tell a user, oh, go over here. But how do I hint to them? Like, say, for example, like, oh, they're looking for an item in a room. But like, I don't want them to like run off into the other room and look in the wrong spot. And so what I wanted to make is a system called VRC waypoints, which allows me to set like a waypoint location, and then it will get a path from the user to said point, and then we'll point them on the direction of that path. Say, for example, in VR, an arrow on their wrist that points in the direction that they need to head.
Mm.
And then once they're in said room looking for some item, it swaps from an arrow to kind of like a pulse. And so then the closer they get to the object, the faster it pulses, or the further away, like in a hot or cold system.
Mm.
And so it's to try and help get rid of some of the you know, what do you call it? Like the annoying parts of worlds where you're like trying to search for like 30 items to try and find the specific thing that you need to get.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like an objective marker, but a bit more advanced.
Are you just in the early current stages of it? Is it just initial coding? Like, how has the development of it gone so far?
We've got a proof of I have got a proof of concept for it working. I just yesterday after work. The problem is work's been busy recently. I haven't been able to work on it as much as I want because I'm tired. I want to play games.
Yeah,
like I'm a gamer at heart, but
mm-hmm.
yeah, no. So it's something I started. I have a proof of concept, so it has the path. It can then point the arrow in the direction of said path.
Yeah.
The only thing is now is making it look pretty, making it work reliably, and say for example when I prefabify it, I'm going to have to try and make it a bit more user friendly because currently, right now, I just say, right, create a new Udon class, or like I put this Udon class into your Udon shop behavior. It's very programmer focused, and so I know a lot of people may not benefit from it, and I know it's probably not going to be as popular as stuff like VRC hands, but it means that I can go off and when I'll create a demo world for it, and it's going to be the most Stanley Parable type stuff I can get in VRChat without getting attacked by that studio. Just to showcase the thing in action, showcase it being used. I want to create like a really funny world to try and demo it and show like how it can be useful and like the use cases for it.
Now you've also mentioned how and also helped brought in proof of concepts with different ideas into VRChat. But looking at VRChat right now, if you could make one change to VRChat to help improve it for the future, what would it be?
Trying to think. I complain a lot about a VRChat, but in all fairness, they do a pretty good job. They do a pretty good job.
It could be a couple things if it's.
The main thing recently. The main thing was obviously Skeletal input. I wanted Skeletal input in VRChat, and now it's here. It's great. I mean, obviously it's in beta and or whatnot, but I guess one of the major things for me, and it's like a dream that will never happen.
Yeah.
Is foveated rendering. I use a headset that uses eye tracking, and I don't have a super beefy GPU. And so the idea is I would prefer to have foveated rendering so that it can render the screen at a lower resolution around the sides. The only problem I find with this kind of stuff is that it's not going to really work in VRChat because I believe what they would have to do is change how everything is rendered, which will break everything. So it's never going to happen. Or if it does, they're going to do some weird workaround. But that's something I want. It's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then another thing is actually having Udon more open, like just as a standard programming. I've recently started a job here. I'm a student and I've just started a software engineering job. And being able to program normally, going back to Udon's a bit wacky. Because you'll start typing something you'd normally type at, say, work, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope, you can't do that. We don't support, embedded arrays? Or like, I don't know what the particular is, but it's like, oh, I want to define an enum in my class, and it's like, nope, you can't do that. You have to do it outside. And I'm like, great. It's not the end of the world, but...
Yeah, it makes life a bit more difficult, for sure. But moving on to some more personal questions, which as we get switched to the latter half. Have you had any major programming projects outside of VR? And what kind of projects were they?
Other than university stuff, really nothing, or
Mm.
nothing I can talk about. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
nah, no, it's there's not really anything massive. I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as I said, I'm only very recently new to programming, and the only reason why I program is because it's kind of practical for me sometimes. Like, I want to go do something, so I'll make it, right?
Mm.
If it's like, I'm not gonna go off and I'm not gonna go like just build a full website just out of nowhere, or I'm not gonna go off and just say, oh, I'm gonna program this ESP32 to do like whatever wacky thing. I don't do that kind of stuff just because I like being able to benefit from my work. One of the other things you'll see on my GitHub, if you ever go there, is a thing called VRC delete hidden user script. In one of the updates of VRChat. Oh, that's actually something I want to add back. I really want to be able to delete a user, like what's it? Unshow users, but not delete hidden users. The problem is with VRChat now is you now, like, if, say for example, if I want to unshow everyone in the entire game, there's an option for that in the menu, but that unshows and unhides everyone. I wanted to have a button that would literally just go, all right, I want to unshow all users, but I want to keep the hidden ones hidden. And so I just created a very simple Python script, loops through the file that's stored in, and then just removes all the people who are shown. Very basic, but if you ever like me and play on really strict safety settings and you're showing everyone, it's amazing because like just before you get to the community meetup, you add in the user IDs of all the like hosts, and then it will preserve those people, hold all the hidden people there, and then you unshow everyone else so your FPS is back.
Oh, FPS? What's that? Never heard of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, not really anything massive outside of VRChat though. Nothing. Like, everything I've done is pretty VRChat adjacent.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. I mean, time will tell later down the line. So, you got work, enjoy. But on top of that, you briefly mentioned about you're a gamer, a bit of a gamer. I see. If you could name one game, which would be your favorite game?
Ooh, hold on. I need to get onto Steam for this.
It's a good answer then.
I got a few gems I love.
Such as
Mario Kart DS,
Ooh.
absolutely fire. Literally, my parents, any long road trip, boom, whip out the DS. Your siblings next to you connect over like the really goofy like local connection thing, and then play Mario Kart against each other. It's great.
Oh yeah.
But that's more nostalgia speaking there.
No, that's completely fair.
I'm just trying to think it. The Beginner's Guide is a very, very good game. Any like the Stanley Parable, the people who created the Stanley Parable, they have some amazing things. I think it's called the Beginner's Guide. Amazing story game which goes around someone who creates stuff. It's amazing if you ever are looking for kind of a story like that. It's really interesting and emotional. Another really nice story game, I think. I'll try and get the name of it. I think it's called Before Your Eyes. Give me a minute. I'll just check.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Before Your Eyes. And it's about a kid growing up. And I'm not going to say many spoilers, but if you do want to play that game, look it up now. Pause the video. It's a very emotional thing. Unpause the video now. but yeah, now just 10 seconds spoiler warning there. It's a game that's made me cry. Oh no, not 10 minutes. 10 seconds. It's a very emotional game. It's made me cry, and it's I think that's a really well written story.
Mm.
You only can play it once, but man, is it the best experience I've ever had in a game.
Oh, no, you get those stories which do truly touch your heart in a way, and it is a one-time experience. Otherwise, you just know what happens.
The major thing with it,
Mm?
the major thing with it is it uses your webcam to get your eye track to get your eye
Mm.
thing, your eye data, and then if you blink, time fast forwards. So
Mm.
you're so like, it's very immersive in the sense that you're there, and it really shows you like like how invested you can get into a story,
Mm.
and it's amazing. I've never been like so emotional over something in my life. I don't think.
Oh.
Well, there's a few exceptions, obviously. Like, it's not gonna make me cry more than some relative passing away or whatever. But
Mm.
it's a very sad thing, obviously, to go through.
Mm. Yeah, I can completely follow in that regard. But you briefly mentioned it at the very start of the video. But why did you decide to use the name Dyslexic?
My friend Luke's gonna kill me. I came up with this. I got my dyslexia diagnosis, and I was like, right, look, I'm gonna spell it wrong on purpose. I'm gonna put a K and I'm gonna put a 1 in there because it's a gamer tag. Gonna make it gamery.
Mm-hmm.
So I called myself Dyslexic on Xbox. My friend also, like me and my friend Luke, we remain we don't talk as much anymore. But I like to imagine him as a close mate, even if we don't chat as much.
Mm.
But him and I were both dyslexic, and so he was Q and I was K.
Mm.
And then I added the 1 because I wanted to add some extra flair to it. But he then changed his name to some like he moved house and he became very laggy because he lived in the countryside, so he called himself Laggy instead. But I kept the name Dyslexic, and then all of a sudden, obviously, I do all the stuff online. I kind of push the name out there a bit more.
Mm.
And so, as much as I don't want to admit it, I kind of stole it off a guy.
No.
But I also like we both kind of created it together.
What do you mean? It's a group effort.
I was just a lot. Yeah, no, but that's kind of where it came from. It's just me and my mate Luke. I can get into the whole story with how we met, but it's a bit. That's more me talking about high school, and I don't think that's probably appropriate for me to do.
It's up to you, really.
For his sake, mainly.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. You gotta respect your privacy at the end of the day. But moreover onto that.
But it's kind of like the name is literally just from my dyslexia diagnosis, and then me and my friend thought we would be funny.
It's very
It's
funny.
problematic because it now kicks into moderation stuff. Say on Roblox, I can't call myself dyslexic. I call myself lexic on there, lexic 04, I think. But it's just because they don't let you write dyslexic, and I feel more concerned as time goes on. I won't be able to sign into stuff with the name dyslexic. So we'll see. We'll see where the world goes.
Okay, but like, that's just the statement of like how you are. It's not not really an insult. But I guess Roblox's moderation is stricter. How did you decide to present the way you are in VRChat?
Well, you see, the problem I always had was the people I hung around with, and sure, they could have been bad. Most male avatars look the same. I'm sorry.
Thanks.
They they either look the same or they look like something like this. And I'm gonna whip out something cursed here.
Oh, is this one of the old Evvies?
And I just don't like it. Like this kind of stuff's gross. And so like I always tended towards more female models.
Oh, the nipples.
And both now, yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
No.
censor those.
Yeah, I know, we need to put a massive censorship bar.
But so no, I just like I just wear this avatar because I think it's nice. A lot of people say like I'm the problem is so recently I've just changed my avatar from I've went through like a transition phase there between 2 different avatars.
Yeah.
This used to be my traditional one. It is Lena. You should It's kind of
Give it a second.
Thrill Seeker used to use this quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, am I on Polyami Shader?
I don't know.
I am, aren't I? Why the hell is the lighting so weird?
Oh, that's probably why.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
yeah, so this is like kind of Lena. It used to be one I used to be on. You'll probably see me in some older stuff with that.
Mm-hmm.
But with sorry, one sec while I get to the avatars page. I obviously, if you go on my Twitter, you'll see here that I kind of moved to this.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just because I wanted full face and eye tracking. And then recently, I've finally found a new model.
Oh, I barely saw the second one for a second.
Oh, don't worry.
Okay.
You're not really missing out on much. Just look on Twitter and you'll see it.
I mean, yeah, you did show off all the skeletal input on there, so I got dyslexic jump scared.
Yeah. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now,
so I kind of just present on this model just because I find male models are too repetitive or boring for me.
I mean, yeah, they are pretty samey. I look like generic man, normal man, if you will. But on top of that, T-Rex with shades holding a Corona beer on top of an exploding mountain. Discuss.
That is the official logo of BTS.
Mm-hmm. What, the K-pop group?
Oh, no, behind the scenes. I just abbreviated it. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say this. I was like, wow, no way. I didn't realize BTS used that as their logo. I swear that's going to run into like sponsorship.
But no.
Mm-hmm.
So originally I was told, oh, you need like a little icon for it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to come up with a graphic design. I didn't want to like go learn graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
So I whipped out GIMP because I don't have Photoshop,
mm-hmm.
And got a T-Rex, a Corona beer, some glasses, and no, it wasn't BTS. It was another event called Dyslex1k Prefab Social, which was us chilling, drinking beers together.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, I remember that. Oh no.
Why so?
During one of those events, during one of the DPS events, there was a joke that I should take boyfriend applications. And so I took them and I got 32 responses or requests. Half of them was just one guy, and one of the ones he pretended it was Tupper.
Yo.
And the funniest thing, so Tupper goes to a club called Shelter occasionally, or quite a lot. And so the joke is that he loves Shelter music. And so the application was like, "What music are you into?" And it's just like what they play at Shelter. And I'm just like, "Oh my fucking god!"
Nah, that's funny.
Yeah.
But starting to wrap up with things a little bit. What keeps you motivated to do the work you do?
Truth be told, I only work on stuff whenever I want to work on it. One of the main reasons why you'll not see any updates to VRC Skeletal Hands, obviously it's in the game now, so I'm not going to work on it. But one of the reasons why I never updated it is because, while it was interesting learning how to do stuff, maintaining it was a different story. I really should have chosen a different programming language, so it would be easier for me to work on. But the truth of it is it's like, well, I just take a lot of breaks. I don't like. It may look like I work on a lot, but I work on stuff for short bursts and for for short bursts. But I do a lot in those short bursts, and so I wouldn't say I'm motivated all the time. And I don't think you should go home from like school or uni or work and go, oh, I need to work on this project thing. Like, for example, right now, I could have just turned you down and said, I'm going to work on my waypoint system. But I'm not going to do that because I've already finished the day of work. I want to chill. And, like, after this, I'm probably going to go off and have a drink. So, like, one of the things I always, like, say is just be careful of not making yourself sick of what you like. Because, it ruins the kind of the magic if you turn it into a chore or a job. And some people may disagree with me. Some people may love to, have a lot of motivation constantly to go do stuff, and that's, everyone's different. But for me, the way I stay motivated in making anything is by taking breaks. And you want to know what? If I don't want to work on it anymore, I don't work on it anymore. I just do something new.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense.
The files are all still there. It's all uploaded. And anything I work on too, I make it completely open source. Like, if there's something like, what was it, VRC Skeletal Hands? MIT. Anyone in the world can take that. You can turn it into a paid asset. You can update the asset. You can help maintain it. Do whatever the hell you want. And, that's kind of like the big attitude I have with that is, if I'm going to, like, I know I may not work on that ever again. So I'll let people legally be able to build it or make something into something amazing,
Yeah. No, it's quite honourable, and it helps people at least have the base to build off from in the future, whether they use your asset. On top of that, and speaking of projects, is there any dream project you'd like to do?
Oh boy. Currently, so as I said, I'm in a job currently, but this is only for like a year, and I go back to uni and study for the final year. But in my final year project for that, I have an idea on something really cool I want to do. And no one steal this from me because I'm still going to do it for my university project. We'll try to.
Yeah.
I really want to work on a ASL learning app, or for me, BSL, because my university wouldn't let me do ASL. But the logic of it is it's a VR app where you can talk to an avatar in front of you or another user, but there's no microphone. Right? That's the catch. There is no microphone. You cannot speak. They cannot speak. You can only speak with your hands. And so the idea of it is that using the finger tracking on the Quest, you're able to, say, translate words and then try and practice, learn, and then to kind of simulate the experience of being out in the world and talking to people in ASL or BSL, whatever. Having, being able to either talk to a bot or being able to talk to an actual player, like another person, being able to talk between those two people with, like, your hands. And only your hands. It's very crude, but it's something I really want to do because I feel like it'd be very cool, and it'd be on the Quest store as well because my university would pay the fee to put it up.
Yo, I love universities, which I didn't have to, but I support it regardless. Now, final couple of questions, which I always like to ask people: who has or is inspiring you to do what you do?
One of the people I really look up to is Prisco Centauri. You'll probably see their work. They win Specality, or whenever it was a winnable thing, they won every year. I really look up to Centauri. She is an amazing creator. Though I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there are things I've learned from her to improve on. So, like, obviously, whenever you start to know who your idols are, you'll start to see their flaws. She's an amazing creator. She works really hard, and I just can't, I can't work as hard as she can. But I can kind of, I look up to her on, kind of what she gets out in the public, what she does. And she's been a huge inspiration in getting stuff done, even if I don't work at the same rates or the same amount she does. I really, really, really love her work, and you should really check it out. Genuinely, it's amazing stuff. And you'll probably have actually seen it all before.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. And final question, which I always ask, is there anyone you would suggest for me to interview in the future? Can be one person, can be a couple people.
I'm just trying to let me go on Discord here. Let me see. I might mainly just chill with normal people. I've started to move away from the creative sphere. Maybe Crazium. He's worked on some really cool stuff. You talk to him. He'll be able to talk to you about all kinds of weird, wacky projects he's worked on.
Yeah, he is.
But other than that, I don't really know.
No, that's fine. I'll see if I can reach out to him. I know he's made some interesting projects. We'll put it like that. But
of course.
Is there anything else you'd like to plug quickly before we finally wrap up?
if you're interested in what I work on or interested in reaching out to me, remember, message me on Discord or on Twitter. I probably should put my actual like dyslexic email in as well, which I think is just, it's not like a professional one. If you ever have any business inquiries or anything like a commission you want to get done, I mean, you can do that over Discord. Email's a bit more formal though. But yeah. And if you need any help or want to join Reach or anything like that, to reach out. I don't bite, you know. I try to be as relaxed as I can and not be as be intimidating. So yeah.
No.
Other than that, I don't really think there's much more I can really plug.
No, perfectly fine. But thank you all for watching. Thank you, Dyslexic, for your time. It's been very honorable to have you here. It's been nice to chat and get to know a lot of the work that you do, and it's very interesting to learn. So, I hope you all have a wonderful evening, as it's currently 10:30 at night. Please take care, and bye-bye.